Hello and welcome, brother friends. This is the WrestleWolf Weekly Wrestling Podcast. I'm Dr. Damian Gibson, and joining me, as always, is a man who I know for a fact is very happy with the Double or Nothing pay-per-view because we kind of, sort of, watched it together for the first time yesterday. How are you, Matthew?
Good. Maybe I was just gaslighting you by pretending to enjoy it, and now I'm going to shit all over it, and I know all the points you're going to make, and I've stayed up all night thinking of genius ways to overcome you with my logic.
Yeah, we've been doing this podcast together for a while, so I know that you're not actually capable of doing that because you're exactly the same as me. Not as bad as me, but you're the same as me, is that you will have visceral reactions to wrestling storylines. I'm way worse, but I know that in a much more measured way, you're the same. And I know that there's one particular angle that's going on in AEW at the moment that's driving you fucking insane, which we will get to, which is why I know that neither of us have poker faces when it comes to wrestling, man. We wear our hearts on our sleeve. You know exactly what we think immediately.
That's true.
I mean, if you did do that, fuck, what a heel turn. I mean, I would be so taken aback. It would be amazing.
That would, yeah. Anyway, no, I haven't really done that.
Yeah, so we're in lockdown at the moment. We watched this live in Melbourne, Australia, not together, in separate houses.
Oh yeah, we're in lockdown still, just so people know.
Yeah, we kind of meant that we could watch it live, but we both had anyway. We worked it out so we could sort of watch it together, and we were messaging each other throughout. And yeah, I enjoyed it so much. But we'll get to that in a second. We do have a few newsy things to talk to. Yeah, that's a correct use of English. First, do you have any news stuff?
No,
to lay down.
No, other than the fact that I've turned fully on. I've turned AEW heels on Cody Rhodes.
Yeah. Well, you're not the only one. It seems like, as always. I mean, I don't really go on social media anymore, but I did do some digging into how people reacted to to the Cody and Anthony Ogogo match, and it was not great. I don't think it was full meltdown. Like, we weren't getting to Chris Jericho bump levels of freakouts, but there was a lot of Triple H memes running around,
which is insane because people freaked out over one bump. This has been a whole terrible garbage storyline that has spoiled the debut of someone who could be a massive fucking star.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this has been in inverted commas, thought out, and has played out over a 4, 5, 6 week period, and is continuing this week on Dynamite as well, which was
yes.
That was the point. That was the point where I got to the same level as you, because I've been quite measured with this, where I was like, I don't really care, man. Like, I think they're trying to put a go-go over, and they're just doing a really bad job of it. And Cody is, I don't know what's going on with Cody, but look, there's enough trust from me with AEW I think they'll rectify it some way, somehow. And then when we got a card later on in the pay-per-view yesterday showing what was on Dynamite this week, and Cody was fighting Ogogo again, that was the point where I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me?
The Nightmare Factory have lost to Cody Rhodes with QT. Now they've lost to Cody Rhodes with Anthony Ogogo. Now Anthony Ogogo and QT Marshall go up against Cody Rhodes again. Thank you a lot. Also, when we talk about how you're right, they have planned this. Cody Rhodes, because of how disastrous and stupid his promo was, he admitted that he focus grouped that promo, which is horrific.
Yeah,
I hate that.
Was that for real?
Yeah.
Though?
No, apparently they legitimately focus group these things. Because they're in data. Because he talked about how they're a data analytics company and they do that kind of stuff. And when they're going to do something, they think will be
AEW.
Well, I think Tony Khan's that part, whatever the sports.
Oh, okay, yeah, right. I don't know.
He focused.
I don't have an excuse.
People.
I don't have any excuse for this. I don't know because I'm trying to like, even with other storylines that I sort of come across at first, I'm like, oh, I don't know about this. I'm trying to be less judgmental immediately. You know what I mean? And just sort of let it play out and see what happens. But this is, I mean, we're getting close to 2 months of this storyline, and you're absolutely right about the, like, what are they called? The Nightmare Collective and the Factory or whatever. Initially, my argument was like, oh, well, it looks like they're trying to put the guys in the factory over so I can put up with QT Marshall while they're doing that. And I think Agogo has star ability and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But no one's gone. No one is going over.
No. Well, Cody's going over.
And if they are, well, yeah, of course, yeah. But I mean, if anyone's going over, it's got nothing to do with this feud. You know what I mean? It's because they're in the Battle Royal or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to do. It, like, not to sound Jim Cornette about it, but it feels like they're sort of cosplaying a NWO Hollywood Wolfpack thing going on here. That just, the difference is no one cares.
It sucks.
No one cares about
sucks
this.
So much.
Wolfpack, NWO Wolfpack were the greatest faction of all time. We all know that.
All right, let's get to the news.
We've got heaps of time to talk about that. I feel like we're going to spend a lot of time talking about that, which is a shame, man, because it was such a good pay-per-view. But we'll get to that in a second. The only real news stories that sort of came out this week, everything was very Double or Nothing sort of focused. No real Daniel Bryan stories, which was interesting. I thought it was inevitable that towards the end of the week we would get some Daniel Bryan's definitely going to AEW stories, but that didn't happen. New Japan, the story sort of appeared at the beginning of last week saying that New Japan were in talks with WWE to have an exclusive relationship where wrestlers go on both. Well, an exclusive relationship. There's been no confirmation from either company in regards to this. My initial reaction to this was, oh no. Do you have any thoughts or feelings towards this?
Yes, and I would just like to say I have the exact opposite thought and feeling towards you, and I can't wait to see Okada versus The Miz as the buy-in show for the next WrestleMania.
Yeah, for the US title.
Yes, that's going to be awesome. There's just so many dream matches. Like, I can just imagine, like, right now they're calling Shinsuke Nakamura and they're like, well, you've had a good time there, right? And he's just, like, smiling, but his eyes are crying. And as he nods and he's, like, trying to tell them, don't do it. It's a bit like Get Out.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah. Yeah. Did you see the interview he did recently where he like legitimately saying flat out that like he's homesick and he's trying to make the best he's tried to make the best go of America and there's things he really loves about it, but things aren't going the way that he expected. It was so sad. It was so sad to read the interview. Like, oh, you don't want to be a dickhead, but your initial reaction is like, well, leave, dude. Like, get out of there. Anyway, I'm trying really hard not to bring up Connecticut that much and my hatred towards them, but yeah, I can't see New Japan. I just can't see them doing it. I know they're desperate to break into America. I know they want to go worldwide. I mean, it's very obvious from their actions in the last couple of years that that's what they want. But it makes much more sense to hitch their wagon to AEW where they can have their talent come and go whenever or when it suits. And you're getting almost as many eyes on the product as you would with WWE anyway. And you know that if you're going into an agreement with WWE, it's going to be weighted towards them.
Yeah. And
that's also, just how they do business, right?
Just like there's no way they're going to be like, all right, we're going to have Okada versus Cena. We're going to have Okada versus, Reigns. Like, they're just not going to put those guys on the same level.
Yeah. Which would be great if they were going to do that, but they won't because they'll be like, well, they're not on weekly TV and no one knows who they are and blah, 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 blah. The only thing I could think of is if they have a one-off pay-per-view where you have those matches, but they don't seem very.
They're not going to put those guys on the same level as their top guys. It will literally be like, okay, you can have Daniel Bryan, you can have Cesaro, you can have Adam Cole. These sort of mid-level guys can go over to Japan.
AJ Styles,
AJ Styles. They're all great talents, and various levels of mid-level. I don't think you can call Daniel Bryan mid-level necessarily, and you probably can't call AJ mid-level. But he's not Roman Reigns. He's not John Cena. And the reality is they're just not going to let those top guys go over. But they'll be more than happy to take New Japan's top guys and just make them look like fucking goobers in stupid storylines.
Yeah, absolutely. It's negative signings, right? Like, there was a period of time in Premier League football where the bigger teams like Chelsea, Man City, Man United were just signing everybody because they could, and there's no rules against it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, they were just signing all the 18 to 20-year-olds on the face of the planet and just sort of farming them out to leagues like the A-League. So they couldn't develop and play for other Premier League clubs. And it feels like a very similar sort of thing here. But I don't know. It was the burning news story for about 48 hours and it's completely disappeared. So I feel like that was, I don't know, maybe WWE throwing that out there just to see if there was interest, or I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, look, the IWGP, whatever it is, GP,
that's right.
IWGP United States title was defended on Dynamite a few weeks ago. Dynamite's probably biggest crossover star is that champion. New Japan have been treated with a lot of respect during their relationship with Dynamite, with AEW, and will continue to once they can open up. I wouldn't be surprised if, AEW would be more than comfortable sending the Young Bucks over to Japan and letting them lose to whoever.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, if Kenny wasn't in a storyline where it wouldn't hurt him, they'd be happy to have Kenny go over. Like, they might send him over for a tag match.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. Or a non-title match, some sort of dream match that's not a non-title match or something like that. An AEW New Japan pay-per-view, to me, makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's similar styles. Most of the guys on the AEW roster have worked in Japan at some point anyway, so hopefully that story just goes away and we don't hear anything more about it. We did get an amazing Tony Khan promo out of it, if nothing else.
Yeah,
the Forbidden Door was back.
The Forbidden Door's back. This was a good promo.
He's a good promo, man. He's really good. I really like him as a promo. I know everyone else is like, no, we don't want any GMs or anything like that. I mean, we probably don't in Dynamite. But if Tony Khan all of a sudden became that Forbidden Door GM character, I would have no problem. I'd have no problem with that.
I agree. Look, I don't think they need it. I don't necessarily want to see it. But let's go. Why not? Who cares? If they want to put him on Rampage, I'm all for it. As long as he doesn't get involved in storylines as a physical,
No, not as a wrestler. No, god damn it. You know who else I think would be good? Eric Bischoff. He popped up on Dynamite on Friday night.
I think they
not
use
necessarily
him
as a GM, but like as a manager of a wrestler or something like that. I think he would be fantastic.
I think they use him,
or even as a commentator, maybe.
I think they use Bischoff perfectly. Like, I love that he just pops up and he adds a bit of like prestige to something. It's how they should be using Jim Ross. Like, Jim Ross should occasionally rock up and do an interview. Like, that should be it. And maybe, let him commentate Kenny Omega versus Adam Page or whatever. And it would feel like a big deal. Like when he did, was it Rock Austin that he came back for? Or it was one of the Undertaker matches.
No, yeah, it was Rock Austin because they asked for it. They asked for Jim Ross to come back and because he signed them and blah 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 blah. Because he talks about it in his book for pages and pages and pages on end. That's the only reason I know it so categorically. It's because I read his book. The only other really newsworthy-ish story that I saw that I thought was interesting, and I feel like this is an ongoing news story, is Cody addressing the rumors of him and the Elite not speaking to each other.
I didn't hear this.
Yeah, it was at the press conference on day one because they had a big fan convention for Double or Nothing. It went over it was from Friday morning to Sunday afternoon before the pay-per-view. He and Tony Khan were doing an interview, and he basically was like, look, I read the dirt sheets, I saw all the rumors, we talk about it. So I talk to Nick and Matt every day. I talk to Kenny every other day. There's no way that we would be able to run the...
Why is he talking to Kenny not that much?
I don't know. But he was like, there's no way that they would be able to run the company if they weren't talking to each other.
I talk to Tony Khan every 3.5 days.
It's just the way he sorts things out. I talk to Brandy every 4th day. I only talk to one person a day. Anyway, I can see why the rumor got legs, because Cody's not on being the Elite anymore, and he was a sort of big part of it there for a while. He may just be too busy to do that, or may have gone, guys, I'm not submitting fucking 10 minutes of footage to this shit every week.
Well, particularly I'm not sure if I didn't if I wanted to make my name in the world, I definitely wouldn't be going on being the Elite at the moment, because it is absolutely fucking trash.
You don't like the Hollywood hunk going around asking trivia questions?
It's the Good Brothers have destroyed it for me.
They're not. They haven't been on it the last couple of weeks.
Well, I haven't watched it. I stopped watching it because I was so sick of hearing about these masturbators.
You hate them so much.
They're just shit. They're fine, but they're fine as the highlights of the Good Brothers' career have been standing silently behind people I like.
That's harsh. I think they can be funny.
Are you saying what better highlight have they got than standing behind AJ Styles or standing behind Kenny Omega? Talking about how they like to masturbate on being the Elite. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, well, I don't mind that.
Oh, God.
I don't know. I haven't really seen him that much. At the moment, the thing that I'm paying attention to the most is, what's his face is the BTE champion again.
Who?
What's the young boy, the guy with the face guard, is Dungeons and Dragons dude?
Oh, Brandon Cutler.
Yeah. They've reintroduced a lot of that stuff where they play games against each other and all that kind of thing. Good. That's always fun to watch. I want to see more of that. But yeah, you're right. There isn't enough Colt Cabana on BTA.
That's definitely not what I was saying.
Should we get into Double or Nothing?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh no, I've lost the
Did you
card.
watch
you don't happen to have the card there in front of you?
Did you watch the pre-show?
No, I didn't even realize there was one.
Okay, so
and then it was spoiled for me because it was the NWA title. Would definitely watched it.
So we watched. So I watched it this morning because I was so happy with Double or Nothing that I was like, "Fuck it, I'm going to go back and watch the pre-show." Serena Deeb is legitimately an all-timer. She's so good right now, and so I won't go too much into the match because you haven't watched it, but it's really worth a watch. It's Serena Deeb versus Riho.
All right, I'll check it out.
And Serena Deeb is fucking phenomenal. Anyway, let's get into the actual card. Sting and Darby Allin versus Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. Oh, that wasn't the first match. I take it
this isn't in order, right?
Hold on. Hangman Page versus Brian Cage.
Yeah, man. How cool did Brian Cage look when he came out?
he sort of looked like it was just a bit of a B+ effort. It was a bit like WWE would have done this as an A+. To be fair to them, their production is so on point, and AEW really does B+ this stuff. They're a bit like they're the smart kid in class, but they leave all their homework to the night before it's due. So it's just never as good as it could be, and the teachers are always a little bit disappointed.
Yeah, I was thinking Brian Cage should have handed that costume to Cody for Cody to come out to. The transformation into Triple H could have been complete.
This match was not massively exciting in my opinion, but was good. Like, it was just a good match.
You don't reckon?
It was just a good match. Like, it was.
I really enjoyed it.
And I'm assuming we're now going to get Brian Cage feuding with Team Taz, which is fucking cool.
Yeah. Team Taz are a weird faction, right? I mean, like, when you think back on the pandemic era of AEW, which is pretty much over now, I think I will think about Team Taz a lot because they were so pivotal to so many different storylines. But they play a really important part, right? But I don't know if they're doing the job of a faction. It'll be interesting to see if Brian Cage gets over because of this, right? Like, they've played the long game. Like, he's been in the faction for a really long time. He's been the FTW champion, close to Taz, blah, blah, blah. And you're right. It's absolutely going to explode at any second.
And this is
It'll be interesting to see if Cage gets over. I think he's got all the tools to absolutely get over. But it's kind of like, well, where does he... Like, I assume that, like, he'll fight Ricky Starks to stuff, beat Ricky Starks. Where does he go then? Like, does he go into the title picture again?
Well, this is the thing, right? I'm assuming they're going to have a bit of a protracted, like, they'll break out, they'll break up, sorry, and then they'll feud over the FTR belt. The issue here is that Brian Cage has almost all the tools, but he is not a very good promo. And Ricky Starks is a phenomenal promo, and Taz is a phenomenal promo. But, like, if they could get him over by him just, beating the shit out of people, and, like, that's cool, and, like, doing unbelievable things for a man of his physique. But, this could be actually Ricky Starks' big, oh shit, he's the guy. Like,
it could be Ricky Starks that goes
this
over.
This could go for a couple of months, and Ricky Starks ends up, beating Brian Cage at all out, and then Hangman's probably going to beat Kenny, hopefully at all out, and then Ricky Starks could be the first person to take on Hangman.
Yeah, that could be really cool. Next up, we had the Young Bucks versus Eddie Kingston, John Moxley. It was a pretty low-key entrance from Mox and Eddie when they came into the arena. People were relatively happy to see them.
I've got to say...
And it was an okay match. The Bucks were all right as heels, and then we move on to the next match. The next match was...
Eddie Kingston got the pop that I thought Orange Cassidy was going to get. Eddie Kingston is clearly the person that, had crowds have been there for the last 6 months, would probably, like, there's potential he would have been in the championship match. Like, I don't think they expected him to be. I think they thought, oh yeah, he's great, he's really good, he'll be over. I don't think they expected him to get the biggest pop on the card and to be, constantly his name being chanted every time he did anything.
No, yeah. Well, I mean, I mean, you're right. I would have expected Orange Cassidy. Hangman Page got a pretty fucking big pop.
He did get a big pop, yeah.
When he came out, which, I mean, look at him.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Like, he absolutely should be getting
this is the thing, though. If he was in WWE, Cassidy, the audience would fucking hate him because they would have Roman Reigns'd him.
Oh, absolutely.
And AEW, I think you can say that one of the best things they've done is they made him lose that match against Jericho, and they made him, he's lost a lot. He's really struggled. We've got to do that with him. And now we're all at the point where we're like, he's beautiful and great. Let him win.
He's got a bunch of weirdo friends that are cool and funny. Yeah, no, yeah, it is interesting. I think Eddie's got that, like, crossover thing in the sense of, like, the same guys who like Mox will like Eddie. You know what I mean? And I'm trying very hard to say this without calling those guys meatheads, but that's like bros. Bros are going to love Eddie as much as Smarks and dweebs and he's a 4-quadrant wrestler. Really everyone who's watching Eddie can get into him. His promos are great, but he's also an underdog, he can be a real tough guy, but he's also got a sensitivity to him when he does promos at times. Like, he has all of it sort of going on. You know what I mean? Like, when I think about it, it kind of makes sense that he's that over as well. But I think also people just love the underdog, right? You know, like this guy's been doing it for 18 years and no one really knew he existed until maybe NWA Power. And then even then, very few people knew he existed. So then, like, AEW is it. And so I think people are just rooting for him to win a championship. You know, that would be the ultimate. And he's just super fun to watch. He's just one of those guys that, like, every time you see him on screen, you're like, oh, sweet. This is great. He also, you know what he does do? He elevates Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley is better working with Eddie Kingston.
When that promo they did on the last Dynamite, where Eddie Kingston's like, maybe I'll be a VP, maybe Mox will be a VP, and Mox is like, I don't want to be a VP.
I don't want to do that.
Like, that's like that kind of stuff. The way they play off each other and clearly don't talk about it beforehand. Like, they're fucking great. They're so good. Like, I am a Mox fan. When I was his at least loudest internet podcasting from Australia on wrestling detractor.
You sure were. I still don't really understand that stage. I don't. It went on for months as well, where you're like, I hate Mox. I was like,
I hated him
where
as
this
champion.
is coming from.
I hated him as champion.
I know you did. I was the other person hosting the podcast.
He kept beating people I liked, first of all.
Yeah, and that's always annoying.
And
that's why people fucking hated the Roman Reigns. It was a Roman Reigns run, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. I agree, absolutely.
I just want to shout out the Young Bucks in this match. They're doing their in-ring work at the moment is different to. I saw a lot of people criticizing the amount of spots in this match. I actually don't think there were that. For a Bucks match, I don't think there were that many spots, right? Compared to face Bucks, I think they have really toned down, the exciting spot. I mean, they still do great wrestling, but I think they've even tempered their in-ring work a little bit with being heels. I love them as heels. Like, now I get the Young Bucks now. I get it. I didn't get it. Now I get it. I'm 100% on board. I know that makes me the ultimate smark where it's like, oh, fucking babyface team turns heel, and I'm like, I like them. But I don't know. I just love. I've started watching BTE with them as heels because I want to watch more of them. You know what I mean? And you're right, BTE is pretty bad at the moment, but I get an extra 5 minutes of Matt and Nick, so I'm into it. Yeah, I just thought this match. I love this match. Like, I wrote to you while we were watching. I was like, this is fucking awesome. But the crowd also elevated everything that happened on this pay-per-view except for one match.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are they the MVPs of the pay-per-view? The Jacksonville crowd?
Yes, they are.
I think they have
They were the most over thing on this pay-per-view to me.
If it wasn't the crowd, then I think there's probably two people in the next match that could possibly be put forward for that award, and that's Jungle Boy and Christian Cage. I still can't get used to saying Cage at the end of Christian. This was. I'd be interested to see what you actually thought of this, because I was I was sort of enjoying it, but the last 5-10 minutes really sold me on this match. Well, the last 5 minutes, where the Matt Hardy, Christian, and Jungle Boy sort of confrontation happened, I was really into. Did you enjoy this Battle Royale with cheese?
Battle Royales suck. Leo Rush is a good addition to, like, occasionally be on Dynamite, but they didn't really do him any favors with this particular thing. I was really excited that I said to you at one point that really the only two people in the match that were ready to go and have a world title shot were Christian and Jungle Boy. I was slightly wrong because Penta was in the match at that point, and Penta could absolutely go and have a title match. But I just love that Jungle Boy. Like, you just can't accuse AEW of not making their own stars, because well, I mean, obviously Kenny Omega's champion and the Young Bucks are tag team champions, but like Jungle Boy is a straight up AEW guy, and he's awesome. He just, he's the next challenger for the title.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can't underestimate how big of a deal it is for Christian to put Jungle Boy over. Like he's a big enough star that he would have had a say in whether that happened or not.
Yeah,
he's not, he's not coming to AEW and then getting jobbed out by Tony Khan. You know what I mean? Like that's just not happening. So that's a conversation that would have been had. And, I feel like, I'm pretty biased because I love Edge and Christian a lot. So I think I'm probably looking through those lenses a bit, but I feel like there's a lot of other wrestlers that wouldn't have done that job for Jungle Boy. You know what I mean? Especially when they've been retired.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I know he was in the Royal Rumble and stuff, but he's been retired for a long time, comes back. This is pretty much going to be his last run. He could have quite easily put his foot down and said, no way. I want that shot. Like I'm not putting this fucking kid over. He's going to be here for 15 years. But he did the right thing by the company and by Jungle Boy. I don't think that could be underestimated.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think it's a, better signing by the day, and I look forward to him having a good storyline at some point.
Yeah, well, you're absolutely right? Like it comes like it's for everyone who was a bit like, when Christian was signed, not down on it, but sort of like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, fine. It's moments like this that, he's almost worth his, like whatever Tony paid for Christian to come across, it almost paid for itself, to quote the Castle, in the last 2 minutes of this Battle Royale. So, yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I can't wait to see Jungle Boy at the pointy end of the card because I think he deserves it. He's a good wrestler and people love him. So,
agreed.
Cool. You got 5 minutes to talk about Cody Rhodes. Go.
So I feel that we covered a lot of this at the start. I just want to say that they've done Anthony Ogogo dirty. At the very least, they should have had him win this match. He was not ready to be in the ring. Cody did an all right job of covering that up, but it was pretty obvious at some points. They also made, not that I care about Austin Gunn, but Austin Gunn took one punch to the stomach and started like spurting blood from his mouth. Cody took like 3 and still won the match, which is, pretty fucking lame, Cody. But also just like the fact that this is continuing on, like this is the worst storyline AEW have ever done. It's been bad since the start, and it was like the t-shirt they've released for this, right? So this was Cody and his sort of friend who isn't as successful, who started a training company with Cody's brother, who then turned on, like it's so convoluted, but it's sort of it makes sense. But at least, he's got a little group of guys and they're going to like be the upstarts and Cody's the face and he's, not going to let them do it. Whatever. No one wanted to see it, but it was like, okay, this is like for some reason something Cody's decided to do, and at least they're going to get the young guys over. It turns out they're not going to bother doing that. And then they add in this match this bizarre element because Cody wants to use the title American Dream, that it's England versus America, which was exceptionally strange, particularly when Anthony Ogogo made a series of salient points about issues about America. Like the T-shirt, the official T-shirt for this match is the American and English flag with like Rhodes versus Ogogo. And it's like Anthony Ogogo is a massive face. And in 6 months, like he deserved to have, if not the Brock Lesnar debut of like shit, at least the John Cena debut of like coming and stepping up to someone and, immediately being someone who matters, rather than punching a couple of jobbers in the stomach and then getting beaten by Cody Rhodes. Like, it's just fucking bad storytelling, man. And Cody doesn't tell bad stories, so that's disappointing.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I don't have any excuses for Cody. I'm out of excuses for Cody. I've been trying for the last few weeks while everybody else has been like, this is fucked. I'm like, oh, well, ba ba da ba da ba da. And if we didn't get, if we did, like, I would have been like, well, we're shit, but it's over. That was pretty much my attitude. I think I said that to you flat out yesterday. And then we got that card showing that we're getting more of it. And I was just like, oh, fuck. It's like trying to defend a friend who's like, refuses to buy beers, refuses to go in rounds at the pub or whatever. And you're trying to defend him for a few weeks. And then like he just does it again and then blatantly walks out of the pub, and says, I'm not paying for your guys' beers. That's a terrible metaphor, but it just feels like I can't defend Cody anymore. I don't know what is going on. I don't know if he's distracted because of his baby or what the fuck is going on. Because you're right, man. His storytelling has been fantastic in AEW up until the last sort of 3 months or so. Yeah. And I don't have any reasoning for it. I don't know why. It just sucks because Cody's better than this.
Yeah. It's like it feels like he's wasted a lot of our time and is intent to continue to waste it with this sort of bizarre throwback storyline. But like it's like he's like trying to show how good he is by getting over the ungettable over. Like, with QT, again, another match with QT. QT coming out, the fucking weigh-in, which was just a legitimate actual waste of time. Like, Big Show spent 30...
on Friday Night Dynamite.
It's kayfabe. Big Show spent 30 seconds trying to set up the machine. He didn't need to do that. No one would have been like, that machine wasn't set up properly. Maybe they would have, but maybe they should have set the machine up.
I know.
It's.
I feel like that's you're a victim of social media because it's going through your head of like, I better fucking make sure this looks legit, otherwise I'm going to get 10,000 fucking tweets saying.
if this is all just like some weird thing that Cody's got, where he's like trying to prove his ability to like get people over or show things, like if he comes out for this tag match next week and is like, oh, Dustin's injured, but he is, Ignatius Farts, my new friend, and like it, and that becomes his sidekick. Like, I'll be like, okay, Cody is like trolling the wrestling world now. It's like
Ignatius Farts. Oh, I've got to meet this guy.
Yeah. He's 14 years old.
His finishing move is silent but violent. Doesn't someone? Oh no, that was split. That was Chris Benoit. Wasn't that Chris Benoit's catchphrase for a bit?
Oh, if it was, like everything to do with Chris Benoit, that looks bad in retrospect.
Yeah, I know, right? Anyway, why did I bring up fucking Chris Benoit? We're having such a good time bagging Cody. Anyway, Cody, pull your finger out. Do like either go away. I think he's in desperate need of becoming a heel.
Yeah.
I think he really, really needs to become a heel. It's like, yeah, man, we've seen that you can be a babyface, a good one, but this is the point where this was WWE, they would just keep powering through and not pay any attention to anything anyone's saying. AEW, in particular, Cody and Tony Khan constantly talk about how they're not that, and they listen to the fans and blah, blah, blah. Well, the feedback from what I saw this morning and yesterday is pretty strong.
Yeah.
So unless there's some kind of super payoff to this that no one can see coming, it's probably time to maybe go take some time off with Brandy and the baby and come back as a heel. I mean, heel Cody Rhodes, we haven't really seen.
Not in
unless
AEW.
you count like unless you count Stardust. Anyway, Miro and Lance Archer, it's fine.
Well, you didn't watch parts of this match, but I thought the match was really, really good. It had no heat whatsoever, but this is Miro's great. They did the right thing. Do we have to talk about this though?
No, not really. I just like that they're Goldberging Miro
because we got a big thing coming.
That was my only point. He hasn't lost a match yet.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know. There was Yeah, a couple of girls wrestled, and then Darby Allin and Sting. Did you want to talk about that women's match?
Yes, I would like to talk about the ascendancy of Britt Baker. There's not actually a whole lot to say about this match, other than one, Reba.
It was great.
Well, Reba and Britt Baker were dressed as Kevin Nash and Scott Hall as the outsiders, which is just superb. The match itself was absolutely excellent, and I'm really glad they didn't try and, because everyone knew Britt Baker was going to win, and like the anxiety I feel when I watch matches where you know what's going to happen is that they're going to pull some bullshit swerve. And it was just great that they let Britt Baker win. She's going to be the biggest star in the company potentially. The women's division just got so much better, and you've got Serena Deeb and Thunder Rosa and Big Swole and Chris Statlander. Like, there are so many good wrestlers that are like, Thunder Rosa is piping hot as well. I don't know if there's an issue around her contract that has meant she's sort of been away for a little while, but yeah, I'm really excited to see where they go with this.
She has been, just quickly, she's been doing NWA Power, but NWA Power had their season finale this week. So
it was a clip show of their two
they
actual
put in
episodes.
a solid 7 weeks of work, and it's time to pack up and go home. Mind you, 3 of those 7 episodes weren't actual episodes. So I don't know what the fuck is going on down there. They need to sort their shit out. Anyway, this was amazing. Sheeta getting emotional when she came out to a crowd was, there were like 3 or 4 moments in this match where I almost cried. Throughout the pay-per-view where I was like, oh man, wrestling's so cool. Oh man. But yeah, Sheeta coming out, I was like, oh mate, because she's like been champion to nobody for so long, you know, and it was like, that was the exact moment I'm like, well, Britt's definitely winning, because Sheeta's like taking this in and going, oh, well, this will be the one time that I'm champion in front of a huge crowd, and you know, but she's been great. This whole match was great. I don't know whether Schiavone coming down and hugging Britt was planned or not, but that was a nice little moment as well.
Yeah, it was nice.
And Britt didn't break character. I think a lot of people would have broken character in that moment. Genuinely, I think there was a lot of emotion around the match. I think a lot of people would have broken character, and she did not. And it just shows how much of a huge star.
She's the best of the best.
She is. Did you see during the week that MJF did an interview and someone asked, you know, if there was going to be a female in the Pinnacle, who would it be? And he was like, there's only one person, it's Britt Baker.
I did not see that, but that makes perfect sense.
He was like, it's unlikely that she'll join. Like, we don't, and he stayed in character as well. He's like, she doesn't like me and I don't really like her, but we respect each other, you know?
He doesn't break character either, actually.
Nah, man, he's the best. He's the best. Every week I forget how good MJF is until he's on screen, and then I'm like, fuck, I love you so much. Darby Allin and Sting and Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky, had a good match. This was another match where I was like, I don't know. And by the end of it, I was in. I was really in. What did you think of this one?
I thought this was sick, and I thought, like, the only thing really worth commenting on here is that Sting jumping off the, like, Sting's, I think everyone was a little bit nervous coming in. You know, is one botch going to kill Sting? Then Sting jumped off the ramp onto Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, and it was fucking cool. And it doesn't matter that Scorpio and Ethan lost; they got to be in the ring with Sting. He made them look great. And to be honest, they made him look fucking great.
Yeah, they did.
This was awesome. Like, I can't believe in 2021, you know, we're in our WCW show, we're up to Bash at the Beach. You know, this is now what, 25 years after Bash at the Beach. You know, 24 years after Sting became one of the biggest names in wrestling, and he's still absolutely fucking incredible. Like, he deserves to be called the icon. I like that he's brought his son Darby Allin with him. I like Darby Allin's face paint. I was like all about everything about. I like their little intro thing where Sting was wearing his Sting T-shirt in their car. Maybe Sting should consider just wearing a black T-shirt, but who gives a fuck? He's an old school carny. He's not really a goth. Like,
yeah. The spot where Ethan Page threw Darby Allin into the front row of the crowd is one of the best spots I've seen in a long time.
yeah.
It was. I mean, these episodes where we just gush over AEW, they always rate quite well. I always feel like, we've got to be critical at some point, right? I mean, we have about Cody Rhodes. But this was just great. This was a match where I was legitimately thinking like, I probably will be like, it's fine on the podcast. But I have to give due to everyone in this match, including Scorpio Sky, who I've been critical of in the past of just being sort of vanilla wrestler as far as I was concerned. Like, he just wasn't grabbing me in any way. I like him, man. I like Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky as a team. I think they need to keep working together. They're putting each other over. Ethan Page, I think, has all the ability to be like a big star as well. The future's so rosy for AEW, man. I mean, just this match alone, like there's 3 guys in this ring who are fantastic. So outside of Sting, I mean,
yes.
Looking to the future.
Absolutely. Like Darby Allin he just oozes charisma and oozes star power. And like, I'm going to have a critique of Orange Cassidy a little bit later that could be made of Darby Allin, but just somehow can't be. But anyway, we can get to that now if you want.
I can't believe that you're going to criticize Orange Cassidy when he was fucked over by that arsehole, Don Callis, who's a piece of shit. I agree with Tony Schiavone now, right? I was always like, Schiavone, you've been a bit harsh on Don Callis. He's a funny guy. I'm 100% on Tony's side now. He's completely ruined Orange Cassidy's career. This match was great. A+. Loved everything about it except Orange Cassidy not winning. But I don't know if I can critique this match properly because I was so emotionally invested in Orange Cassidy winning, and I knew I was when everyone started walking out. It was a real Daniel Bryan, CM Punk feeling. I was like, I've had this feeling before for a wrestler. So I don't know if I can critique this match properly. So maybe you should take the wheel with this one.
In my opinion, this was a just 5-star match, one of the best triple threats I've ever seen. What I thought was a little bit concerning was how genuinely physically unbelievable Orange Cassidy looked. Like, he is so small compared to like Pac's arms at one point were bigger than than Orange Cassidy's thighs. And I was like, maybe like when he takes his jacket off, I'm like, that's sort of what I looked like when I was like 19 years old. Like, maybe just beef up, my friend. Like, you just look like I don't know, like he just, like it wouldn't make sense for his character to be massive.
Slightly.
But he does need to look like he could actually realistically. Otherwise, look, at some point, Orange Cassidy is probably going to win the AEW title. It is probably going to be an out of nowhere, oh my God, I can't believe he did this. And then he's going to lose it the next week, which is what should happen. Orange Cassidy should not be walking around with the AEW title. But if he is the Mick Foley of AEW, you've got to admit, it's going to be an unbelievable moment. Like, they should do it on Dynamite one day. Like, they should have just a random throwaway match, and boom, Orange Cassidy wins and he's champion. And then next week,
Mrs. Cassidy's baby boy is champion of the world.
And then next week, the heels absolutely brutalize him, and it's horrible. And how could they do this?
Orange has to be chasing. Yeah, he can't Roman Reigns it. It'd just be just be going around going, what? Do something. No, Orange Cassidy shouldn't be that character.
But like, it did what I did.
But fuck, it's fun to barrack for him.
Yeah,
man.
so this is really physically, I was like, Jesus Christ, like he is so much smaller than them. But then when he had that comeback, and like I was thinking that for 3/4 of the match, and then he has that run where he starts throwing out orange punches, and I'm like, fuck, he's good. Fuck, he's good.
Yeah.
And you want to believe, which is probably the biggest thing in professional wrestling, in my opinion. If you want to believe,
Absolutely.
And
absolutely, and you almost have to draw like I know I mention these guys a lot, but you almost want to drag it out the same way that Daniel Bryan was in WWE. Like I remember at the time being like, "This is terrible booking. Why won't they make Bryan the champion?" Blah blah blah. And then when I look back on it, it's like, no, that was actually booked almost perfectly. Outside of the Sheamus thing, which I think was like they didn't do that on purpose, and that anyway. But I think Orange Cassidy has the same thing. The good thing for Orange is that he has a crew of people booking the show who, one, are behind him, and two, know how to book a wrestling show. So, but holy shit, man! Like all three of the people in this match are top 10 wrestlers in the world at the moment. Like in ring, like I mean, you could Orange Cassidy maybe drops down. Maybe he's a little bit closer to 10 than 1, but Pac and Kenny Omega, holy shit, like they're in work. Like Kenny Omega is another one of those guys where just each time I watch him, I'm like, yeah, like there's just another little thing that I notice where I'm like, shit, yeah, no, he is really fucking good. I mean, like what a wrestling podcast. Kenny Omega's good, but like I'm just saying from my point of view of like not having really seen much of him, with each passing week, it's like, how did I underestimate this guy so much?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was just like, yeah, he's fine. But yeah, heel Kenny Omega, heel Young Bucks. This is another reason why Cody must become a heel immediately, and then join the Elite.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I jumped out off my couch on maybe 2 or 3 occasions when Orange got very, very close. There's about 4 2.5 counts in this match. And then that arsehole, Don Callis, from out of nowhere, dragged Orange Cassidy out of the ring. Oh, I hate that. I hate that Don Callis, Matt.
Well, I mean, I couldn't believe that was the way they went with it. But I mean, it shows that they're going to be keeping going. Orange Cassidy can say, I got cheated out of the title. I had the title.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think anyone came out of this match looking bad.
No,
right?
this was amazing. Like this was so well booked.
Yeah.
Pac is so good as well.
Yeah, absolutely. He just does things that are. This was sort of probably the first time in AEW that reminded me of all the things that I saw of him in WWE, where I was like, why is this guy? Remember when they put him in 205 Live?
Yes, I do.
You were like, what the fuck? What the actual fuck is going on here?
Adrian Neville. Anyway.
Adrian Neville, that's right.
Fucking terrible name.
Yeah, I know. It sounds like a guy's going to come up and ask for a fucking cigarette at the train station.
Anyway, really bothers me.
Adrian Neville, like, yeah, and then we got what do they call it? Stadium Stampede. I kept coming to call it Bash at the Beach. That's not right. Stadium Stampede. What did you think?
Look, I don't think this one was as good as the last one, but it was so different. No. Like it's not that it was worse. It's that like I quite enjoy like the comedic bits, and like this had very few. I mean, maybe the greatest moment AEW have ever had is that FTR and Tully look like they work at the gay smelting iron from The Simpsons. Like they look like they work hard and they play hard.
Tully especially. You know what I mean? It's just a silver fox hanging out for a twink.
Yeah, that was one of the most amazing moments. Them sitting there.
Hey, mate, I genuinely laughed out loud when they turned around to face the camera. I was like, and then I immediately messaged you. I was like, "Oh, look at Tully."
So when the inner circle when the pinnacle got together,
so much fun.
I'm not sure if I said this on the podcast, but I think I did, and that it was that they've only put Sean Spears in here so he can be kicked out, and
Yeah.
Which, bizarrely, this match, I was like, hey, maybe I kind of like Sean Spears.
I know,
He's
right?
getting kicked
It's
out
crazy.
by Sean.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah,
need him.
you
They
reckon?
don't need 5 guys.
Is this a return to Horseman Watch?
Maybe this is it. Maybe this is how they do it. But they're definitely going to kick Sean Spears out. And Sammy Guevara looked fucking great.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, amazing. I thought everyone performed really well in this match. There probably wasn't enough. You know who I'm really digging? Santana and Ortiz.
Yes. I think
probably not enough of them and FTR for my liking, but I mean, you've only got so much.
the only thing
You know
I
what I
was
mean? Like-
excited about the Inner Circle breaking up was that Santana and Ortiz could go off and
Yeah,
do their own thing. And
yeah,
hopefully
same
they
for Sammy Guevara as
Yeah.
well. For me, it was a similar thing.
Like, I think it's now time for Santana and Ortiz to go and have some 10-star matches with the Young Bucks.
Yeah, absolutely. The tag team division probably needs to be concentrated on a little bit more again.
Well, I think they're about to
just in general.
I think they're about to start a 3-man tag. I mean, maybe that's what they do. Maybe Guevara, Santana, and Ortiz are going to be the initial trios champions.
Yeah, trios champion could be cool.
I think that's what they've sort of implied.
Just when you've got the tag teams the caliber of the Young Bucks, FTR, Santana and Ortiz, the best friends,
Butcher and the Blade.
Butcher and the Blade,
my guys.
I was getting to them. There's more as well. Oh, the Varsity Blondes,
Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus.
Yeah, of course. Although I think Jungle Boy might be a singles guy now. Luchasaurus might have to tag with Marco Stunt for a bit.
Well, this is what kills me because Jungle Boy is so phenomenal, and Luchasaurus really has almost everything he needs to be a phenomenal singles guy as well, except for the fact that in every single match I've ever seen of Luchasaurus, he's done one really painfully obvious botch. It's like he just can't help himself.
Yeah.
Like, there's just got to be one fuck up in every match. And it's like, come on, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas Jungle Boy is just...
He's so handsome without a mask on as well.
Really?
Like, yeah, he's a really good-looking dude.
Oh, well, we're internet podcasters, so fuck him.
Yeah, what an arsehole. I was a bit surprised the Inner Circle won and stay together, but I'm not disappointed by that either. It's probably cool. Because it does sort of make sense. Like, I feel like this feud culminates with MJF versus Chris Jericho, right? And MJF beats Chris.
Yeah, there's got to be a one-on-one. Yeah.
It's leading to that. I feel like that's, but yeah, Chris is, God, man, he's just so good. He's so good. I love his little stupid asides whenever you can hear him when he's wrestling. It's like, yeah, you want to be you like that, you little bitch, man. Yeah, and then just like the busting in on Jaguar's coaching staff and using their footballs to piff at MJF and stuff. Like, I was like, oh, are we going to get a full-blown comedy match? Like, initially I was like, oh, I thought they said they were going to do like a serious sort of thing, or as serious as you can do with a cinematic match. The only other thing I wanted to point out is I really liked the transition from the obviously pre-recorded stuff into them coming into the arena.
Yeah.
I think that's a really smart, intuitive way of doing a cinematic match, It'll be interesting to see if people nick that. I think that'll get nicked pretty quickly.
Yeah. I think that.
But yeah, man, what a fantastic pay-per-view. It reminded me how much I love wrestling and why. I like, I've seen reviews of like, oh, it was pretty good. I just loved pretty much every second of this pay-per-view. Yeah, except for the Cody a Go-Go stuff. But everything else was so good. AEW have such a great roster. It's so well booked. It's so much fun to watch. I don't walk away, angry with anyone except for Don Callis. Yeah, it's just great. It's I can't emphasize how much I enjoyed this pay-per-view.
Agreed. This was great.
Cool. Well, hopefully Tony sends that calm coin straight into our bank accounts after a review like that. I'm sure that's what we'll get accused of. Big shout out to our new friends, Warhorse, Danhausen, Luigi Primo, and RJ City. They're like our new best friends. So, hey guys, hopefully you're listening. And if you want to know what that's all about, follow us on Twitter like those guys have. And yeah, until next time, brother friends, Pepe is dead.